My daughter said she wanted to eat steamed buns, and I was at home mincing meat for the filling, but tears kept falling uncontrollably. Everyone says that a rural woman like me married a university professor, and yet I dared to ask for a divorce. But no one knows how I've lived all these years. How outrageous he's been outside. Meng Tsuechin, are you out of your damn mind to report me? My husband Shen Yaoan roared as he stormed through the door, his once refined face now utterly twisted with fury. Everything I wrote is the truth. If you think it's slander, you can explain yourself, I said, continuing to chop the meat filling. He lunged at me and slapped me across the face. You rural shrew. Without me, you're nothing. What are you trying to do? Strangely, it didn't hurt much. When your heart is dead, physical pain truly means nothing. Meng Tsuechin, without me, you can't even afford to live in this apartment. And your parents in the village won't be able to hold their heads up either. When he came at me again, I swung the cleaver and struck him with every ounce of strength I had. Even as he was closing his eyes, he was still cursing me for being a shrew. So I gave him another strike, and then I closed my eyes too. When I opened my eyes, I was back in 1975. Shen Yaoan was still that educated youth from the city, and I was still myself, a rural girl. This time, I won't go near him. My family's steamed buns will be fed to the dogs rather than to him. I was reborn, back in 1975, with white steamed buns on the stove, their fragrance wafting through the air. My family wasn't badly off. My eldest brother was in the army, my second brother was a veterinarian, and my father was the production brigade captain. But after I finished middle school, the high school teachers were sent down to the countryside. School came to a halt, and I simply stopped studying. At the time, my mother said that a girl would eventually belong to someone else's family, so studying was useless, better to learn a few more dishes. And now, I really do know how to cook well. Tsuechin, could your brother ever harm you? Yaoan is truly a good man, his looks, his education, how can Li Shan compare? Listen to me, take these buns over to him in a bit. First time you're strangers. Second time you're acquaintances. Third time you're family. The one speaking was my second brother. In my past life, it was he who single-handedly brought Shen Yaoan and me together. Shen Yaoan was an educated youth who had come from the big city, and originally, we weren't familiar with each other. Besides, I already had a childhood betrothal, arranged by my grandfather. It was to Li Shan. Li Shan was currently serving in the army, not in the village, but before long, he would return due to an injury and be discharged. In my past life, I didn't understand why my second brother kept singing Shen Yaoan's praises during that time. It was true that Shen Yaoan loved reading, was literary, and handsome, but he was quiet, and we weren't close. Later, I realized that Shen Yaoan wanted to be recommended as a worker peasant soldier university student. But he knew he wasn't good at manual labor, so he wanted to use my father's connections to take a shortcut. In my past life, I already thought he was outstanding, so I listened to my second brother and actually went to deliver buns to Shen Yaoan. Who would have thought? Shen Yaoan suddenly embraced me, saying he'd had a crush on me since his very first day in the village. Before I could even react in my daze, someone shone a flashlight, and a crowd gathered around. Now the whole village knew that Shen Yaoan and I were secretly dating. Shen Yaoan then told me that this was love, maybe not recognized by others, but our hearts were together. I had never met such a handsome, silver-tongued man before, and he was saying all this to me. My father didn't like him, but he couldn't withstand my persistent coaxing, so he let Shen Yaoan and me get our red marriage certificates. As his own son-in-law, my father naturally ran around for him. At the commune members' meeting, my father enumerated Shen Yaoan's contributions in teaching literacy classes and improving farm tools, and several old members chimed in agreement, and the list for the masses' recommendation was settled on the spot. And so, Shen Yaoan went to university, and I became pregnant, staying at my parents' home all along, because although Shen Yaoan was born in the city, he had 5 brothers in his family, and he was the third, so no one looked after him. He was indeed diligent, he excelled in university, was recommended for graduate school, and later stayed on as a faculty member. At that time, my second brother would always say, "See, my judgment was right, wasn't it?" Unlikely Sean, whose leg is crippled, walking with a limp. I had seen Lee Sean in the village. He was always silent. Later, he took the college entrance exam 3 years in a row and finally got into university too. As for Shen Yaoan, after he started university, his mother and brothers suddenly became close to him again. After he stayed on at the school and was allocated housing, my father sent me and our daughter into the city. Shen Yaoan's mother soon moved in with us. My father and second brother often brought over eggs and pork from home, and Shen's brothers came by every few days to freeload meals. I was reluctant, and Shen Yaoan said I was provincial, petty, and couldn't hold myself up in public. I endured and endured, until finally he went to a university in a neighboring province, and then he told me and our daughter not to follow. I made a fuss several times before he agreed to have his mother move out, leaving me and our daughter to live alone. For many years after that, we lived apart. I raised our daughter while he climbed higher and higher. I'd heard some rumors and thought about divorce, but my father always said I couldn't. Still, he rarely came home, and our daughter was obedient and sensible, so I kept enduring. It wasn't until one woman after another came knocking that I learned how dissolute he'd been out there. He even had children with them. Even after all that, when I proposed a divorce, he actually tried to make me leave with nothing. In a fit of rage, I wrote a letter of accusation. This time, I was determined not to deliver the buns. My second brother was furious, but there was nothing he could do about it. At dinner, I started mulling things over again. Having been reborn, what should I do with this life? Doing business now was definitely out of the question. I didn't dare entertain that thought. Study? I hadn't touched a book in years. I couldn't even tell pinyin from the alphabet. Learn veterinary medicine? No way. Grandpa had said long ago that this craft was passed down to sons, not daughters. Get married? Even less suitable. Li Shan's mother was no pushover either. Comrade Suichin. I was startled. Shen Yaoan had actually shown up. Why are you here? I asked. Annoyed. I caught a whiff of your family's cooking. Mind if I bum a meal? He said with a smile. Yes, I mind. No, he doesn't. My second brother and I spoke almost at the same time. Suichin. A guest is a guest, mind your manners. My second brother quickly tried to smooth things over. That's right. Yaoan, sit down and eat with us. My mom also chimed in with a smile. I understood. My mom had been swayed by my second brother. She'd always envied city folks, mainly because my eldest aunt had married into the city and showed off every time she came back. In my previous life, after I moved to the city, my mom walked with her back straighter. But I wasn't about to throw myself away just to give her face. So I got up and called toward the backyard. Grandpa, Grandpa, someone's here to eat our buns. My grandpa had just gone to the backyard to use the outhouse. Soon enough, he came over carrying the dog-chasing stick. What's going on? I pointed at Shen Yaoan. Grandpa, my mom and second brother want to keep him for dinner. Grandpa's face darkened. Eldest daughter-in-law. What's this all about? My mom quickly forced a smile. Nothing, Dad. I was just being polite. Grandpa glared at Shen Yaoan, who promptly got up and left. Well done, Suichin, Grandpa said. Our family isn't badly off. But that money's hard-earned. We finally get a decent white flour meal. Today you come mooching. Tomorrow he comes asking. One meal leads to two. Don't indulge this bad habit. Right, Grandpa. That's exactly what I was thinking. I nodded with a serious look. Everyone in the surrounding villages knew how stingy my grandpa was. Nobody was getting a free ride from our family. I won't let Shen Yaoan come to our house. My mom said to me, you're hopeless, wanting to spend your whole life digging in the dirt. Yaoan is such a good catch. Miss this chance and you'll never find another. My second brother also chimed in. That's right. Yaoan is well educated and cultured. He'll definitely go far in the future. After listening to them nag for days, I finally couldn't hold it in and asked my mom, Mom, if I marry Shen Yaoan, will he have to pay a bride price? Of course he will. Can I keep the bride price for myself? No. That won't do. Then do I get a dowry? Yes. Your grandpa prepared it for you long ago. Embroidered insoles. Quilts. I've got those all ready too. Mom. Don't you have $2 silver? Can you give me one? No. I've already decided. One will go to your eldest sister-in-law. And one to your second sister-in-law. I let out a cold laugh. Then what exactly do I get out of getting married? My mom said earnestly. A woman has to get married when she reaches a certain age. Once you have a family, you'll have a man to protect you. Did Dad protect you? She was instantly struck speechless. When Grandma was alive, she and Mom clashed plenty, but Dad always sided with Grandma. Mom. Besides being a city boy, what else is so good about Shen Yaoan? Your second brother said Yaoan will definitely be successful in the future. Then let second brother marry him. You wicked girl. What nonsense are you talking? Anyway, I'd rather die than marry Shen Yaoan. Mom. Don't bring this up again. My mom sighed. Fine. Fine. It's all for your own good. And you don't even appreciate it. When your grandpa really makes you marry Li Shan, then you'll know how good Yaoan is. Li Shan. Actually, I wrote him a long letter the day I came back. I don't know if he ever received it. In the letter, I reminded him to try not to get hurt. And if he did get hurt, he had to come back and make sure to fight for a job placement. Don't just take the money and return to the village. I rambled on for 2 full pages, writing down everything I could think of. I still remember how hard those 3 years of him studying for the college entrance exam were. He struggled so much just to get into a technical college. Shen Yaoan came looking for me several more times over the next few days, even sending me love poems. But I ignored him every time. The moment I saw him, memories of my past life flooded back. The first time I took a train and didn't know how to buy a ticket, the impatience in his eyes. And when our daughter had a fever at 1 year old and I begged him for help in the middle of the night. He said he had classes the next day and needed rest. After we separated, he only got worse, always with different women by his side, and even children. In my past life, I was trapped in the hollow shell of a professor's wife, looking glamorous on the surface, but living miserably underneath. Thankfully, in this life, there's still time to change everything. Seeing that I didn't respond, Shen Yaoan, quick-witted as ever, soon set his sights on Li Qiao, whose older brother was also in the brigade branch. Before long, he got together with Li Qiao, and it just so happened that someone caught them embracing. My second brother sighed and said I'd missed a good opportunity. Worry about yourself instead of nagging about me all day. I'm not worried. A man at 40 is a flower in full bloom. I'm still at the budding stage. I laughed twice. By the time you're 40, Sister Lotus will be almost 50. Can you two still be rolling around in the cornfield together? My second brother's face changed. What nonsense are you talking? Whether I'm talking nonsense or not, you know it yourself. I hoisted my hoe and headed home. Actually, in my past life, I truly didn't know about this. Sister Lotus was a widow with 2 sons, but she was incredibly hardworking. She kept several chickens at home, and before Brother Wang passed away, he'd left behind a goat. My second brother often went to treat the goat's illnesses, and no one ever suspected anything. It wasn't until Sister Lotus got pregnant that my second brother knelt at home and confessed, and my father gave him a severe beating. They ended up living quite well after marrying. Sister Lotus's 2 sons turned out accomplished, they got into university, and the little daughter they had later was both pretty and well-behaved, doted on by my second brother like the apple of his eye. Sigh. In my past life, it seemed I was the one who suffered most. Yet on the surface I looked the most glamorous. Everyone said I was lucky to be a professor's wife. Forget it. Once the policies loosen up in a few years, I'll just earn more money. I refuse to believe I'll live just as miserably in this second life. Half a month later, Shen Yaoan and Li Qiao got engaged. Li Qiao's brother bustled about just like my father did in my past life. But being young, he could only secure a recommendation from the masses. In my past life, Shen Yaoan succeeded because my eldest aunt's husband pulled some strings, and my eldest brother also asked his comrades for help. But for now, getting the recommendation was enough. And the paperwork had already been submitted. Shen Yaoan was overjoyed. He and Li Qiao held a banquet in the village. And Shen's mother came too. The sight of that old woman made me sick, she was such a troublemaker. I didn't attend the feast and kept working in the fields. That's how it is in the countryside, as long as you're willing to work. There's never an end to it. Suichin. Hearing someone call my name, I turned around and saw Li Shan. I hurried over. Why are you back? My mom said my cousin was getting married, and I happened to have leave. So I came back for a visit. Oh. Right, Li Qiao was Li Shan's cousin. Are you okay? I looked him up and down. I'm fine. Doing great. Could it be that in this life he'd avoid getting injured? That would be a good thing. I brightened up again. Li Shan. I wrote you letters, why didn't you reply? He scratched his head. I figured since I was coming back anyway, I'd save the stamp money. I frowned. Are you sure you're not my grandfather's son? Why are you so stingy too? He gave a simple, honest laugh and pulled out a box of face cream from his pocket. This is for you. Thank you. It smelled wonderful, I really liked it. My face had indeed been terribly dry since I came back. Suichin. Let's get married too. So soon. I wasn't opposed to marrying him, in my past life. He'd gotten into university. Later he moved to another city, and I didn't know how he turned out. But given his current situation, I couldn't follow him to the military base anyway, so what was the point of marrying? Li Shan, listen to me. We're still young, there's no rush. Let's wait a bit longer. Okay. Alright. Whatever you say. That's the one good thing about Li Shan, he never talks back to me. Li Shan stayed home for 4 or 5 days before leaving, and he even came by to visit my grandfather. My grandfather was quite pleased. I always said Shan is a good kid. My mother wasn't happy. What's so good about him? His eyes are too small. They don't focus. No good fortune. I found it amusing. Mom. Li Shan takes after Uncle Li with his big eyes. It's Auntie Li who has small eyes. Just keep laughing. When you end up in the hands of that shifty-eyed family, you'll have a rough time. I knew Auntie Li would fall ill in a few years, cancer, I think, and she'd be gone shortly after it was discovered. So I didn't want to get married and move into their house now. If we didn't argue, I'd feel stifled. If we did argue, knowing she might already be sick, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I'd already told Li Shan to take Auntie Li for an early checkup, though I didn't know if he'd taken my advice. A month later, the recommendation results came out. Shen Yaoan was rejected, and a sent-down youth from a neighboring village was selected. When I heard the news, I was happily steaming buns at home and even scrambled some eggs. My second brother asked me, why do you dislike Yaoan so much? No particular reason. Just like you like Sister Lotus. Shut up. Bury that in your gut. I gave him a sidelong glance, daring to do it but not to own it. What a coward. Suichin. Something's wrong. My father came running back to tell me. Something's wrong. Shan's been hurt. My head buzzed. Same as my past life. He broke his leg. The timing didn't match. Though. Had I misremembered? I quickly grabbed my letter of introduction and, along with Uncle Li and Auntie Li, transferred buses several times before arriving at the city hospital. At the ward door, my head buzzed again. Li Shan had a cast on his arm, and a rather pretty girl was feeding him. Her name was Zhang Xuero. Her mother was a girl from our village. When she was little, she attended elementary school in our village, and back then we were sworn rivals. Later, she returned to her own village. In my past life, she was the one who married Li Shan, though they later divorced. My mother said it was because Auntie Li was too hard to please. I didn't remember the details. I hesitated about whether to go in. I knew Zhang Xuero liked Li Shan, but I'd always thought Li Shan had feelings for me. Judging by this, it seemed I'd been flattering myself. Shan, what happened to your arm? Why is it wrapped up like this? Auntie Li rushed in, crying. Auntie, I'm sorry. Li Shan got hurt saving me. Zhang Xuero stood up, blushing. Mom, I'm fine. The doctor said I just need to rest and I'll recover. It has nothing to do with Xuero. Listening to their conversation, I turned and left. From the looks of it, they liked each other. I didn't want to get in the way. Especially since Auntie Lee had said in the car today that she'd had a checkup and was in perfect health. I ran into my eldest brother at the hospital entrance. Why are you out here? Big brother, why are you here? Dad said you came along. So I came to check on you. He studied my expression. What's wrong? Is Lee Sean in bad shape? No. I shook my head. He has someone taking care of him. He's fine. I've seen him. So I came out. My eldest brother was perceptive and didn't press further. All right, you've seen him. That's enough. Come on. I'll take you out for a meal. Okay. I nodded, locking the scene from the ward back into the depths of my heart for now. It was only during the meal that Big Brother spoke up. Li Shan was being heroic. Someone tried to snatch Zhang Xuero's bag, and he got hurt chasing after them. I wasn't exactly pleased. So, if he'd just trained properly and stayed put, he wouldn't have gotten hurt at all. Didn't you know? Li Shan already filed his discharge report. He's heading back. I stared at Big Brother in surprise. What did you say? Heading back? Yeah. He made some mistake in the unit, and maybe he's not feeling too great about it himself. I let out a deep sigh. Respect his choice. After the meal, I thought it through and headed back to the hospital to let them know before I left. Aunt Lee was in the ward holding Zhang Xuero's hand, asking all sorts of questions, looking every bit the doting mother and filial daughter. No wonder my mom always said she was a drama queen. I remember in my past life she used to call Xuero a fox spirit. Li Shan, you okay? I walked in with a smile. Suechin, you're here. I just saw your back and thought I'd mistaken you for someone else. Zhang Xuero said. Yeah. Are you alright? My brother said your bag was snatched. I'm fine. Thanks to Brother Shan. Zhang Xuero blushed and glanced at Li Shan. Oh. It was nothing. It's fate. You two are destined. Aunt Lee chimed in with a grin. I knew she was saying that for my benefit. She didn't like my mom either. And on the way over she'd even said my mom's clothes were too flashy. Zhang Xuero asked me again. By the way, Suechin, that box of face cream from last time, are you still finding it works well? My heart skipped a beat. She really knew how to get under my skin. It works great. Thanks. I knew you'd like it. She smiled softly at Li Shan. Li Shan looked at me a bit awkwardly. Having lived a whole lifetime, I could see right through him. If he had nothing to hide, why so uneasy? Men. Huh. Xuero was pretty and gentle. And now she was taking such careful care of him. If I were him, I'd fall for her too. Alright. Glad to see you're doing well. I'll head back now. With that, I turned and left. Suechin. Suechin. Li Shan called after me, but I didn't look back. You okay? Big Brother followed me out and asked. I'm fine. Big Brother, why not introduce me to one of your outstanding comrades? Big Brother laughed. Didn't you say before you didn't want to be a soldier's wife? Said the long-distance thing was too tough. I smiled bitterly inside. I really didn't want to, but in my past life, I'd long been forced to get used to the distance. At the end of the day, men, you can't keep an eye on them forever. Let me think. If he's going to be my brother-in-law, he's got to at least be decent looking and have good character. I was mulling it over too. In my past life, I'd met a few of Big Brother's close comrades. The problem was, there was no WeChat in this era, otherwise, I'd just reach out myself. Sigh. If only I could marry Ma Huateng. Too bad. At this point, he probably hadn't even started elementary school yet. But as I smelled the disinfectant in the hospital, I suddenly thought, why not work as a caregiver? In my previous life, when my mom was sick, the caregivers we hired weren't cheap, especially the experienced ones. I'm young now and full of strength. Brother, I want to stay here, not go back. I haven't figured out who you should marry yet, my brother said to me very seriously. It's fine, no rush. I'll just stay at the hospital and work as a caregiver. My brother frowned. You want to take care of Li Shan? No. I'd take care of other people, the elderly, the sick, the disabled, anyone. Suechin, what's wrong? Did mom and dad say something to you? No. I just don't want to stay in the village anymore. I want to earn money. My brother took out 5 yuan from his pocket. Here. For you. I took it. Oh, brother. I want to earn money myself. Tell you what. Suechin. Go back first and let mom and dad know. I'll keep an eye out and find you something. Alright. You're willing to do anything? My brother asked me again. Yes. As long as the pay is good. I'm not afraid of hard work. On the way back to town, I stopped by the supply and marketing cooperative to buy some brown sugar and peach crisps. As luck would have it, I ran into Shen Yaoan. He was at the front of the line, buying face cream. I wasn't surprised he was there. But the person paying was a woman, not Li Qin. This is the one good thing about being reborn. I knew this woman. She was one of the women who came to me in my previous life. Meng Yiping. Sure enough. Just as she'd said. She and Shen Yaoan had known each other long before I even got married. She was also the one who told me that if it weren't for the university spot, Shen Yaoan would never have married me. And if it weren't for my dad and my two brothers' threats, Shen Yaoan would have divorced me long ago. Most importantly, she lived in the same neighborhood as me and had a daughter with Shen Yaoan, who turned out to be my daughter's best friend. Back then, my daughter often brought that girl home to do homework, saying her parents were too busy. That was the thing that made me determined to get a divorce. It was absolutely outrageous. Just pure disgust. I took a deep breath and slowly calmed myself down. Not having a phone was really inconvenient, otherwise, I could have just taken photos and recorded a video right then. I didn't wait in line anymore and went straight home. This wasn't something I could do alone. I needed to get my second brother involved. What? You want me to tail Shen Yaoan? Second brother looked stunned after hearing this. Yes, second brother. I'm your own sister. He almost tricked me into marrying him. Are you going to do something about it or not? Trick you? I saw it with my own eyes today. He was strolling hand in hand with a woman in town. Was it Li Qiao? Second brother's expression suddenly changed as he spoke. No. Suechin. I went to Li Shan's house today to feed the dog and ran into Li Qiao. I called out to her several times, but she ignored me. I quickly said, I swear, I really saw it today. If there's even half a lie in what I said, may I die a horrible death. May our whole family, shut up. Second brother slapped my raised swearing hand down. Suechin, if he really is that kind of person, I won't let him off easy. Good. Second brother, here's what I'm thinking. I carefully explained my plan and everything I knew to him. Alright, I'll go ask around right now. How dare he try to fool my sister? If this works out, leave the matter between you and Sister Hua to me. Second brother shot me a glare. Don't meddle in my affairs. I know what I'm doing. Fine. But when sister-in-law comes through the door, if mom dares say anything bad about her, I'll definitely stand up for her. That's more like it. Second brother left, and I continued thinking. When I first learned about this in my past life, I was so angry my chest ached. And since she wasn't the only one, several other female students had come to me. I never really dug into Meng Yiping's story. Second brother was right. It takes two to tango. Neither of those two was any good. How is it, Suechin? Is Li Shan hurt badly? Grandpa came back from outside carrying his hoe and asked me. He's fine. He's pretty happy. What kind of talk is that? How are his wounds? Really, Grandpa, don't bring up the childhood engagement anymore. I don't like Li Shan. Grandpa furrowed his brow. How come after one trip to the city, your heart's gone wild? It's not that my heart's gone wild. I just think Aunt Li is hard to get along with. What if I get mistreated after marrying into that family? What's there to fear? We're all in the same village. If she dares bully you, you just come home. Grandpa, I want to live in the city in the future. Look how fair Auntie's hands are. And then look at mine. Grandpa actually lowered his head to look at my hands. They are a bit rough. With that, he went inside. I went back to my own room and suddenly remembered that jar of cold cream. The more I thought about it, the more it disgusted me. Might as well give it to my mom. Just as I opened the door, I saw Grandpa standing at my doorstep. Here, he said, pressing money into my hand. Go buy some face cream in town. Your face isn't as fair as your auntie's either. Humph. I took the money and shut the door. Early the next morning, I planned to go to town. still to buy brown sugar and peach crisps. With a bit of money in hand, people start craving things. Last night, the hungrier I got as I slept, the more my mind filled with the crispy aroma of peach crisps. While waiting for the bus at the village entrance, I ran into Li Qiao, who was also waiting for a ride. It had only been a few days since I last saw her, and when second brother said yesterday that she had wasted away, I thought he was exaggerating. But now, looking at her, it was true. Her face was completely drained of color. Qiao, what's wrong? Are you sick? She shook her head. No. Did you split up with that man surnamed Shen? I asked in a low voice. She burst into tears. Suichin, he doesn't want me anymore. It's okay. It's okay. Don't cry first. Li Qiao sobbed uncontrollably, and I asked her bit by bit. That was when I learned that Shen Yaoan and Li Qiao had never gotten a marriage certificate. A few days ago, he said that didn't count as being married and wanted to separate from Li Qiao. But Li Qiao suspected she might be pregnant. When she originally married Shen Yaoan, her parents were firmly against it. So now she didn't dare tell her family about the separation, nor did she dare tell anyone about the pregnancy. She thought about starving herself for a few meals to kill the baby, or jumping around, anything to get rid of it. A few days ago, she really bled a lot, and then she felt terrible inside, unable to eat or sleep. Are you going to the hospital for a checkup? Li Qiao choked out. I'm going to see if the baby is still there. I let out a deep sigh. Suichin, I'm only telling you this, you can't tell anyone else. I nodded. I know. Qiao, you need to protect yourself from now on. I know. I regret it too. As she spoke, Li Qiao started crying again. I sighed deeply. Suddenly, I remembered my past life. Those female students who came to find me cried just like this. Shen Yaoan really wasn't human. I accompanied Li Qiao to the hospital entrance, but she was too afraid to go in. Suichin, I'm scared. It's okay. Your health matters most. Fortunately, after the examination, it turned out Li Qiao wasn't pregnant. Her period was just delayed by over half a month. I was truly relieved. Too bad those female students weren't so lucky. Li Qiao and I bought brown sugar and peach pastry from the supply and marketing cooperative. On the way back, we ran into Shen Yaoan at the bus stop again. Meng Yiping was also there, apparently seeing him off. I quickly tried to pull Li Qiao away, afraid she'd be upset seeing him. Suichin, I saw him long ago. It's fine. Her voice was choked, but she tried to stay calm. Are you really okay? I'm fine. From the moment he said he wanted to split, my heart died. Qiao, don't talk like that. You're scaring me. I was genuinely worried she might do something foolish. In my past life, when I found out about his outrageous behavior, I wasn't nearly this calm. Qiao, what do you want to do? Tell your sister. I want to kill him too. Li Qiao looked at me in surprise. Sister, if you kill him, won't you go to prison yourself? I didn't go to prison, I took him down with me. Thinking about it, my chest felt tight again. Sister, thank you for helping me, but I've already made up my mind. What? Next year I'm going to fight for that university spot. I'm going to study, and make sure he can never measure up to me again. I hugged Li Qiao tightly. Qiao, you're amazing. I was only sad for the child. But now that there's no child, I feel lighter. I almost burst into tears. Li Qiao was truly incredible. No wonder she was the first person in our village to get into university. We were both suckers for good looks. But why didn't I have that kind of resolve? Sigh. I really needed to read more books. We ended up on the same bus as Shen Yaoan, and no one spoke the whole way. When we got off at the village entrance, my second brother rushed over and threw 2 punches at Shen Yaoan. Second brother, what are you doing? Li Qiao and I quickly pulled him back. I figured he must have found out something. Second brother, don't be impulsive. I held tightly onto his arm. Second brother was still furious. Bullying a girl from our village. Shen Yaoan, are you even a man? Jiangzi, Li Qiao and I just weren't right for each other. It was fate. Shen Yaoan said without changing his expression. Second brother, thank you for helping me. A blessed woman doesn't enter an unblessed door. Li Qiao looked at Shen Yaoan and said word by word. I'll be going then. Shen Yaoan said again. Truly, the shameless are invincible under heaven. I almost envied his unflappable composure. Second brother was so furious he was grinding his teeth, but I held him back tightly. Qiao, you should head home too and get some rest. I said to Li Qiao. Okay. Sui Qin, thank you all for helping me. It's nothing. Our second brother here is a real champion of justice. Only after Li Qiao had walked far away did I let go. Second brother, did you find something? Shen Yaoan and Meng Yiping were high school classmates and used to date. Later, Meng Yiping didn't want to go to the countryside, so she got married. She's a military wife now. But some people say that every time Shen Yaoan comes to town, he stops by the Meng family. A military wife. A military wife. Perfect. That would constitute the crime of disrupting a military marriage. Second brother. Does Meng Yiping have any kids? Not yet, but she just got pregnant. Wait. Sui Qin. Shen Yaoan suddenly broke up with Qiao, do you think? I nodded. Second brother. Let's hold off for now and wait until she gives birth. The two of them weren't living together long term, so proving disruption of a military marriage might be difficult. Better to wait for the child to be born. That girl was quite pretty, and now that I think about it, her eyes really did resemble Shen Yaoan's. A few days later, eldest brother called back, saying he'd found me a job, one taking care of someone, and asked if I was willing. Of course I was willing. I packed up and was ready to leave, but my mother refused. Sui Qin, isn't that just being a maid? What's wrong with being a maid? As long as it pays. That's fine, I said irritably. Grandfather sighed. Sui Qin, are you dead set on going to the city? Yes. I've talked to your aunt. I'll have her introduce you to a suitable match in the city. How about that? Fine. But that doesn't stop me from going to earn money now. My father thought for a moment. How about this? Sui Qin, I'll arrange for you to teach at the village elementary school. No. When I thought about it, I'd been away from textbooks for decades now. I'd just be misleading the students. My father sighed. We should have let you continue high school back then. At this age. Not married. And no real occupation either. What's the use of talking about that now? Let's talk about the present and the future. Anyway, I'll earn money with my own hands. There's no shame in that. I'd already planned it out. Save up for a few years. And when reform and opening up came, I'd go to Shenzhen to work and start a business. Grandfather blew out a puff of smoke, then pulled 2 bills from his sock and handed them to me. Take this. If you get tired, come back. Our family won't begrudge you a meal. All right. Mom, Dad, aren't you going to show some support? My mother asked. If I give you a silver dollar, will you stay? No. I turned to leave, but my mother grabbed me. Fine. 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 I'll get you some money and ration tickets. Wait here. While my mother went inside, my father pulled some bills from the inner layer of his clothes. Here, girl. Take this. It's your dad's private savings. Spend it wisely. All right. Thanks, Dad. Second brother came running back, panting. Hurry. The bus is coming. Mom. I'm off. You can make it up to me next time. With that, I ran out the door. Second brother was worried, so he came with me to the provincial capital, reminding me over and over again along the way. I know. Second brother. I'll be careful. You also keep an eye on Shen Yaoan at home, and remember not to act impulsively. I know. Your sister-in-law said the same. It's settled then? I asked with a smile. I've made up my mind. Anyway. All right. Then I wish you two a long and happy life together. That's a must. Second brother smiled, looking simple and sweet. When we reached the city, eldest brother was already waiting at the station, and standing beside him was a man in military uniform. Sui Qin, this is Gu Tian, my comrade in arms, and also my superior. What superior? Gu Tian smiled and patted eldest brother on the shoulder. I looked at him carefully. What a coincidence. I recognized this man. He was eldest brother's comrade in arms, and later he held a fairly high position. But the reason he left a deep impression on me was that he remained disciplined even in middle age. No weight gain. No greasiness. Hello, Brother Gu. I quickly greeted him. Hello, Comrade Suichin. You've had a tiring journey. Not at all. Not at all. On the way, I asked him again, Brother Gu, what exactly do I need to do? Cook for my mother. She injured her leg. And my sister can't manage alone. I heard you're quite skilled at cooking. Yes, I'm decent. That was the truth. But the moment I stepped into his house, I felt a bit uneasy. Why was there a 1-year-old child here? Sorry, this is my sister's child. Oh, do I need to take care of the child too? I was calculating in my mind, if there was an extra child, shouldn't the wages also increase? Gu Tian quickly explained. No need. There's already a nanny at home. You only need to take care of my mother. Alright. The other nanny was a middle-aged woman who lived nearby. She came out of the kitchen with crumbs of peach pastry still at the corner of her mouth. Based on my experience reading people, I felt this auntie was a bit shrewd. Suichin, can you handle this? Second brother quietly asked me. Whether I can or not, I have to give it a try. I replied in a low voice. Soon after, Gu Tian's sister, Gu Yin, pushed Gu's mother back in. Mom, this is Comrade Meng Jun's sister. She's here to take care of you for a while. Gu's mother looked me up and down. Pretty young. Can you cook? Yes. Can you cook northeastern cuisine? Yes. My daughter is a picky eater. And in my past life, I'd learned dishes from all over the country by following online videos. Then how about you make some gobeira in a bit? Can you? Yes. Isn't that the perfect dish to go with rice for a kid? Easy. Second brother followed me into the kitchen. Surprised. Suichin, don't push yourself if you can't do it. Brother, I really can. You can help me prep. But their house used a coal briquette stove, which I hadn't touched in years. Back in the countryside, we used wood-fired stoves. Don't we use the wood stove? Gu Tian came over and said, my sister said it hasn't been used in a long time. We've been burning coal. Alright then. So I made gobeira on the coal stove. Aside from the heat being a bit hard to control, it turned out passable. When I brought it to the table, Gu's mother took a bite. Not crispy enough. Stay. I'll teach you again later. Okay. I stir-fried a few more dishes, and we all ate together. After the meal, Gu Tian, eldest brother, and second brother all left. While I was washing the dishes, Gu's mother watched from the side, chattering on about how delicious northeastern food is. Gu Yin quietly said to me, sorry about that. My mom originally came to help me with the kids, but she hasn't been here long and she's a bit picky. No worries. No worries. It's the taste of home. I understand. After that, I handled all 3 meals every day, and Gu's mother kept teaching me along the way. Gu Yin's husband was doing scientific research in the northwest and was usually away. Gu Yin also had to work during the day. That left just the 2 of us nannies at home, one old, one young. The child was pretty well behaved. Once fed, she didn't cry or fuss, just played by herself. But Gu's mother sure talked a lot. I didn't really mind, she wasn't as meddlesome as Shen Yaoen's mother. She just liked to lecture. But she didn't deliberately pick fights. However, the nanny watching the child couldn't stand her hovering and critiquing all day. And before long, she quit and left. I had no choice but to take over watching the child as well. Because of that, cooking and washing dishes sometimes got delayed. And Gu's mother would start nagging again, saying I wasn't getting things done quickly enough. Especially when Gu Tian came over for meals. If the food wasn't ready on time, she'd grumble at me for ages. At first, I was a bit annoyed, but Gu Yin voluntarily gave me double the pay, which was more than I earned farming at home for a year. So what was there to complain about? I just do the work, ears closed, head down, getting it done. I worked for over 2 months, and my cooking increasingly suited Mother Gu's taste, and she talked much less. The child was very well behaved, just like my daughter in a previous life, and I really enjoyed playing with her. Big brother and second brother also came to see me a few times. and everything was going well. However, one day, street office workers came to my door, urging me to go back, saying I had been reported as a rural vagrant, and that Guin was a capitalist employer. After asking carefully, I learned that it was the previous nanny who wanted to come back, but Guin had refused her, and then she actually reported me. Fortunately, Guin kept explaining to them that I was Gu Tian's girlfriend, helping out short-term without pay, but I wasn't, so I was ready to go back anyway. Since it was almost New Year, Guin tried to persuade me to stay, saying, could I wait a few more days and leave after her husband came back. She worked at the supply and marketing cooperative, and the busier it got as New Year approached. I thought about it and figured it was fine. No rush. Who knew the nanny would report me again, saying I had received quite a bit of wages from the Gu family over these 2 months, and a check at the bank would confirm it. I had indeed deposited it in the bank, just a few days ago. Alas, people's hearts are treacherous. I truly never imagined that even a nanny's job could be so full of scheming. Gu Tian was clever, though. He told the street office that I was his girlfriend, and that money was the bride price. When the street office came to ask me, I quickly nodded, not wanting Guin to be associated with capitalism. The auntie from the street office smiled and said, all right, congratulations to you both. Thank you, Gu Tian said naturally. I also chimed in, thank you, we'll invite you to have some wedding candies then. Once the street office people left, I patted my chest and said, that scared me to death. Suichin, what do you think of our Gu Tian? He's a bit older than you, and he knows how to take care of people, Mother Gu suddenly said. I quickly waved my hand and said, Auntie, please don't say that. I'm just here to earn money. On the 8th day of the 12th lunar month, after finishing the laba porridge, second brother came to take me home. Auntie, Sister Guin, I'll head back now. Alright, take care on the road. Guin even gave me a red envelope for the new year. Just as second brother and I stepped out the door, Gu Tian followed us out. No need to see us off. Second brother waved his hand. It's fine, I'll walk you out. Suichin, I'm in a bit of a hurry. I need to go inside and use the restroom, second brother said, turning back. I guessed he did it on purpose. These past days, sometimes when I went out to buy groceries or took the kids for a stroll, Gu Tian would often happen to walk along with us. Outside, when others asked, naturally we could only say we were dating. But with all that talk, the indescribable tension between us grew more and more awkward. Gu's mother also kept trying to play matchmaker, and I even started to dread him coming over for meals. Suichin, will you come back after the new year? I shook my head. Your mother can walk now, so I won't be coming back. Then, can I come find you? I shook my head again. No. Am I really that scary? That's not it. Then, can I pursue you? I shook my head vigorously. No way. Don't even think about making me a free babysitter. No. Suichin, you've misunderstood. I covered my ears and ran off. Why are you running? Are you a rabbit? Second brother caught up to me, panting. You don't get it. It's terrifying. I have to go back and tell Grandpa. There's someone even stingier than him. He's not stingy at all. Here, Gu Tian asked me to give this to you. Said it's your wages. Second brother handed me an envelope. Wages? Sister Guin had already settled everything and even given me a New Year red envelope. I squeezed it. It was thick and bulky. Didn't feel like money. Just as I was about to open it, second brother reached over and took it back. He said to open it when you get home. Why are you listening to him? Second brother smiled mysteriously. He did our family a big favor. What favor? He found Meng Yiping's husband. Last week, he caught them in the act. You didn't call me for something this exciting. I smacked his arm excitedly. What would you go for? Not suitable for minors. You're the minor. I'm at marriageable age. You know. Get in the car first. I'll explain on the way. Turns out, second brother had told big brother about Shen Yaoan and Meng Yiping. When big brother asked around, what a coincidence, that man turned out to be a fellow soldier in the same platoon as Gu Tian. So Gu Tian leaked the information to him. After the man took leave and went home, he didn't go straight in but instead kept watch in secret. Finally, one afternoon, Shen Yaoan entered the Meng family home. The man didn't rush in. He waited until evening, then called over the neighbors and the street patrol on duty. The result was that Shen Yaoan and Meng Yiping were lying in the same bed. Their relationship needed no explanation. The man immediately filed for divorce. But Meng Yiping, being pregnant, refused no matter what. The man threatened to sue Shen Yaoan for disrupting a military marriage. And only then did Meng Yiping relent. Right now, the two sides were still in a tug-of-war negotiation. I'm so excited I could barely contain myself. I just wanted to tell that man right away that this child isn't his. But there's no evidence yet, and no way to do a paternity test. So I really can't just say that casually. When second brother and I got home, Li Shan was actually at my house. And he'd brought Zhang Xuero with him. Suichin, you're back. Zhang Xuero linked her arm through Li Shan's, smiling brightly. I felt like she was showing off. But it's just dating someone. Not like she struck gold. What's there to brag about? Why are you two here? New Year's visit? I asked with a smile too. We're getting married soon. So Xiao Shan brought me around to meet the family, visiting every household. Zhang Xuero said happily, the smugness in her eyes practically spilling over. The moment I thought of the face cream, I felt uncomfortable. I sighed and said, it's just more convenient to find a local. Not like my partner, he's from out of town. You found someone from out of town. Grandpa shot up from his seat, grabbing the dog-chasing stick as he went. No, Grandpa, please sit down. He's in our city. He's Big Brother's comrade in arms. Second brother quickly said. Oh, that's all right then. Did Big Brother set you up? Grandpa asked again. Sort of. Zhang Xuero's eyes darted around. Suichin, you went to the city to find a man. The village says you went there to work as a maid. I sighed. Isn't it the same thing? Just something I did on the side. Mainly I'm a maid. You really went to be a maid? Zhang Xuero repeated in surprise. That's right. Getting paid to care for a patient. Not supporting someone out of my own pocket. Zhang Xuero's face immediately turned sour. Suichin, what do you mean by that? Nothing much. Just stating the facts. Alright. Suichin, we'll be going now. Li Shan pulled Zhang Xuero away in a hurry. Suichin, why didn't you bring your partner back? Grandpa asked me again. There's no partner. I was just making that up. What do you mean there isn't one? What about that? No. His surname isn't Wang. I quickly covered second brother's mouth. Fine. You two chat. I'm leaving. Second brother broke free from me and turned to walk out. Where are you going? Your dad will be back soon and we'll eat. Grandpa called after him. Going to check on the sheep. Don't worry, Grandpa. Leave him alone. I guessed he was heading to Sister Lotus's place. He'd bought face cream and hair clips on his way back. Back in the room, I opened my bag and only then realized that second brother had slipped that envelope in at some point. I quickly took it out and saw it was a bankbook, Gu Tian's, along with 2 sheets of letter paper. Unfolding the paper, it was also written by Gu Tian. The first page read, Comrade Suichin, the first time I saw you was at the hospital. You stood at the ward door, lost in thought, and the sunlight fell on you like you were a fairy. Later, I heard you were looking for work, so I took the liberty of inviting you to my sister's place. I hope it didn't feel too forward. Please allow me to formally pursue you. If you're willing, after we marry, I'll hand over all my wages, never hide any private money, and won't live with my mother. The second page was much simpler, like a personal resume copied from a political review form. Height, weight, high school education, household registration, hometown, everything was listed. I lay in bed, my mind in a mess. Honestly, it wasn't that I disliked him. He looked like he had a good build. But it all came too suddenly. I shook my head. Forget it. I won't think about it now. I'll deal with it after the new year. As the year-end approached, the festive atmosphere in our village grew stronger. I got busy too, frying pastries, curing pork, steaming rice cakes. This was my first new year after being reborn. looking at the not-so-new home. A wave of emotion welled up in my heart. In my past life, every new year, my mom would say, once a woman marries, she has to spend the new year at her husband's home. I'd take the kids to the Shen family and rarely got a kind look. The Shen family always hinted, in their words, that they looked down on me for being from the countryside. What's wrong with the countryside? Weren't they from the countryside 3 generations back too? Later, I refused to go to their place for New Year, and Shen Yaoan mocked me. See, just a country girl, doesn't know proper manners. Sigh. The more I thought about it, the worse I felt. I really wanted to grab a knife and go after someone. But these days, I hadn't seen Shen Yaoan at all. My dad said he'd taken leave to go back to the city for the new year. I guessed it was mostly because of Meng Yiping. On the 28th of the 12th lunar month, Li Shan and Zhang Xuero held their wedding in the village, and it was quite a lively scene. I planned to watch for a bit and grab a meal while I was at it. Why not? Since Aunt Li had borrowed bowls and basins from me yesterday. In my past life, I was pregnant and didn't go, but my mom said they did it pretty well. Just as I was watching the couple bow to heaven and earth, Big Brother suddenly walked over and sat down next to me. Why are you back? I asked, chewing on peanuts. Not just me, Big Brother said with a smile, pulling the person behind him forward. It was Gu Tian. I suddenly felt embarrassed. I was wearing an old cotton jacket, looking all dusty and plain. Comrade Suichin, long time no see, Gu Tian said, smiling at me. Oh, exactly 20 days. I said with a smile. Right. I quickly turned my head, pretending to focus on the stage. When did they start toasting already? I didn't even dare to glance around. Gu Tian's gaze was just too intense. Sister Suichin, who is this brother? Is he your boyfriend? Wang Mao next to me asked. He was Aunt Hahua's eldest son. Aunt Hahua had come today to help cook and brought her 2 boys along. No, I said quickly. The moment I said it, second brother chimed in. Wang Mao, Wang Sheng, call him uncle. Hello, uncle. The 2 kids shouted in unison. Gu Tian pulled a few white rabbit candies from his pocket and handed them out. The other kids nearby saw it and crowded around, calling him uncle too. Gu Tian smiled and gave each one a candy. This scene suddenly made me feel a bit warm. In my previous life, Shen Yaoan would also take me back to my parents' home every second day of the new year, but he never spoke more than a word or 2 to the villagers, let alone the children. In his words, they were all just shepherds. I also remembered the first love poem Shen Yaoan wrote to me, which said, "You are my moonlight." Only later did I understand that moonlight merely illuminates the night, and disappears once the sun rises. I was so foolish, still thinking that maybe he would gradually change for the better. Suichin, I came. Aren't you happy? Gu Tian quietly leaned over and asked me in a low voice. No. I snapped back to reality and lowered my head to eat. Then have you thought about it? He asked again in a hushed tone. I kept my head down, focusing only on the food in my bowl, without saying a word. Was this the time or place to discuss that? Class monitor, you're here. Li Shan brought Zhang Xuero over to offer a toast. Gu Tian quickly stood up with his glass. Congratulations, Li Shan. Happy wedding. Thanks. Class monitor. Zhang Xuero also raised her glass with a smile. We appreciate you making the trip all the way here. It's no trouble. I came to see Suichin, and to share in the joy while I'm at it. Hearing that, I couldn't help but curl my lips into a smile. Zhang Xuero looked at me with a faint smile. Suichin knows Class Monitor Gu too. Don't tell me. You're the one working as a maid at Class Monitor Gu's house. No. Gu Tian was about to explain, but I stood up. That's right. He's even handed his bankbook over to me. Xuero, has Li Shan given you his bankbook? Zhang Xuero's face stiffened, and she shot Li Shan a glare. I knew it. Li Shan's bankbook was definitely still in Aunt Li's hands. In my previous life, Aunt Li never missed a chance to brag that she was the one in charge in her household. Unlike my mother, second brother chimed in to smooth things over. It's fine, Xuero. Li Shan must have just forgotten. It's a happy occasion, cheer up. Right, right, Shuero. I forgot. Li Shan stammered. How about we go toast the next table? Zhang Shuero shot me a glare and followed Li Shan away. After the wedding ended, Gu Tian followed me and eldest brother back home. Isn't Qiangzi coming back? Gu Tian asked eldest brother. He has his own family now. Eldest brother replied flatly. You knew? I turned to look at eldest brother. He told me. Just how much did eldest brother know? And why didn't he share any of it with us? Didn't he feel like bursting? Eldest brother, aren't you bringing sister-in-law back this year? Not for now. Sure enough. Just like in my previous life. He wouldn't get married until next summer. Sister-in-law was a wonderful person. A teacher. And she helped me out plenty in my previous life. But she had a cousin sister that the elders considered unreliable, named Zhang Xiaoning. They said she was unreliable, but looking back now, she was actually bold and daring. After the reform and opening up, she quit her iron rice bowl job outright and started dealing in clothes, eventually raking in a fortune. Second brother and I were so envious back then. Thinking about it now, shouldn't I go meet her sooner? If I could get in early, maybe I could get a taste of that gravy too. After arriving home, Dad and Grandpa were both very warm and welcoming. This was the first time Big Brother had brought a fellow soldier home. Mom was even more excited, bringing out all the peanuts, melon seeds, and fruit candies she'd bought before the new year. Normally, she'd save most of those to take to her brothers' homes when she visited her parents' place on the second day of the new year. Grandpa, Uncle, Auntie, my name is Gu Tian. Gu Tian stood up straight and introduced himself very formally, which made my dad, Mom, and Grandpa all pause for a moment. You're too polite. Have a seat. Have a seat. My dad quickly said with a smile. Dad. He likes Tsuichin. Big Brother blurted out unexpectedly. My face grew hot. Big Brother. Don't talk nonsense. I'm not talking nonsense. Gu Tian picked up the conversation. I just think Tsuichin is wonderful. Today I came to formally ask for everyone's opinion. I want to pursue Tsuichin. Great. My mom smiled so hard her eyes narrowed into slits. City kids sure are straightforward. I quietly peeled a fruit candy and put it in my mouth. City kids. Do they have extra eyes or extra arms? Tsuichin, what do you think? Grandpa asked me. He can pursue me. But I can also say no. Right? Right. Gu Tian looked at me. His eyes full of laughter. Everyone chatted for a while longer. Then Gu Tian said. Tsuichin, there's one more thing I'd like to ask you. What is it? My older sister is going to the Northwest after the new year to reunite with her husband, taking her kids along. That leaves her job open. Would you be willing to take it? Yes. How could I not be willing? This was a great opportunity. Even though there might be layoffs in a few years. Right now, this was definitely a good job. This must cost money. How much? My mom asked him again. No need. No need. My mom said as long as you're willing, she'll make up the difference to my sister. That's so embarrassing. I said that, but I was actually quite happy inside. As long as you're willing, that's all that matters. He still looked at me with that smile. I thought for a moment. All right, Gu Tian. I agree. Let's give it a try first. Okay. Okay. Tsuichin, I'll treat you well. By evening, Big Brother and Gu Tian had to head back. They didn't have much leave. I happily packed my things, planning to go to the city after the new year to handle the paperwork. My dad asked me, Tsuichin, do you really want to go to the supply and marketing cooperative? Dad, didn't you also say this was a good opportunity? It's just that owing someone such a big favor makes me feel uneasy. It's fine. I'll test him for half a year, then get married. Okay. My dad nodded. All right then. I'll take care of the paperwork for you. On the 6th day of the new year, my father took me to the city, carrying quite a few eggs and some cured meat. Big Brother came to pick us up, and together we went to the Gu family's house. After the work matter was settled, Gu Yin took me to the unit to handle the paperwork. Both sides had pulled some strings, and the unit didn't make things difficult, so it was quickly taken care of. After that, my father started looking for a place for me to stay. Gu Yin's house belonged to her husband's family, and since the owners weren't there, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to move in. But how easy was it to find a place? In the end, Big Brother arranged for me to stay temporarily in my future sister-in-law's dormitory, and it wasn't far from the supply and marketing cooperative. Having lived 2 lifetimes, I was finally about to start a proper job, and I felt quite excited. In my previous life, I envied those who went out early and came back late, working 9 to 5, it sounded respectable too. After seeing my father off at the bus station, Gu Tian and I strolled around the streets for a while. I bought a new outfit and picked out a pair of new leather shoes. Do I look good? I asked him. You look great. You look good in anything. I stood on my tiptoes and quickly kissed him. A reward. He also pulled out an envelope. This is my reward for you. Where did you get the money? My mom left me some. And your dad slipped red envelopes to my sister and the kids. And my sister gave it all to me. Is this appropriate? In my previous life, Shen Yaoan only gave me a fixed monthly allowance for living expenses. Aside from that, I never saw a cent of his family's money. And even then, he said I was heartless for not buying things for his brothers. Children. Why wouldn't it be appropriate? Aren't we going to be family from now on? Gu Tian said with a smile. Gu Tian, if you don't make me angry in these 6 months, let's get married. Really? Really? Gu Tian scooped me up in his arms. That's wonderful. I definitely won't make you angry. After returning home, my sister-in-law mentioned in casual conversation that Shen Yaoan might not be able to return to the city. Has the final decision already been made? Not exactly. His eldest brother is also a teacher at our school. After I heard about that matter from your brother, I kept my ears open and asked around. Shen Yaoan has been trying to find a way back to the city, but the Shen family actually doesn't want him to come back so soon. The house is only so big, the eldest brother is married and has kids now, and if Shen Yaoan came back, there'd be nowhere for him to stay. Just as this business about undermining a military marriage came up, they decided to let him stay away for now. I understood immediately. The 5 Shen brothers each had their own agendas, so this wasn't surprising. Meng Yiping is about to give birth, and I reckon she'll divorce him right after. My sister-in-law added. Sigh. I let out a sigh. Poor child, being from a single-parent family in this era wouldn't be easy. My sister-in-law sighed too. She was foolish as well, taking all the blame on herself, saying it was because she was pregnant and her husband wasn't around that she asked Shen Yaoan to come help out. Now her job will probably be lost, and those benefits for military wives are gone too. This matter might even end up written into her file. When she did it, she should have known this day would come. That's true, my sister-in-law said softly. Going to work the next day, I felt quite nervous, thinking of the sales clerks at our town's supply and marketing cooperative, whose eyes seemed to be fixed on the top of their heads. I secretly resolved, I must work hard and treat every customer well. When I arrived at the unit, hey, I spotted a familiar face at once, Zhang Xiaoning. In my previous life, I had always lived in the village and never knew she worked at the supply and marketing cooperative. Later, she quit to start her own business. That kind of boldness was truly remarkable, and I needed to learn from her. So you're the one filling Gu Yin's position? She spoke up as soon as I approached. Yes, I'm Meng Cuiqin. My sister-in-law is your younger sister. Oh, it's you. The day before yesterday, she mentioned having me come over to meet you, but something came up at home and I couldn't find the time. No problem. Come back with me after work, and I'll cook something for you to try. She shook her head. Can't do it, I have to pick up my son after work. You're married? I was a bit surprised. Married long ago, my kid's already over 3. I admired her even more. A woman who could resolutely dive into business despite having a family, that kind of charm was truly captivating. Over the next few days, I often followed her around. She was indeed a sharp, efficient person, quick and decisive in everything. But gradually, I also learned that Xiaoning's husband had passed away 2 years earlier. Now she was raising her son on her own, living with her in-laws and her husband's younger sister. Life wasn't easy for her. Sometimes when I made something tasty at home, I'd have my sister-in-law call her over to eat, or I'd bring it to her. Slowly, we grew close, and her son even called me Little Aunt. But the work really wasn't that busy. When I got off work and went home, I had no phone. After dinner, it felt like I could only wait for night to fall. I thought it over and started writing a novel by hand, planning to submit it and earn some extra money. Having read so many novels and watched so many TV dramas in my previous life, I remembered all the tropes. Surely I could write something. I'd even thought about writing songs, but I could only hum the tunes. I remembered the lyrics, but I didn't know a thing about musical notation. Then it suddenly hit me, maybe my sister-in-law could do it. She could play the piano. In my previous life, my daughter had started learning piano with her. Sister-in-law, can you write music? Like, I hum a tune and you write it down. Sure, I can. I immediately hummed a bit of Stubborn. That's pretty nice. How come I've never heard it before? Of course not, Ashen wasn't even a year old yet. Sing it again, and I'll write it down. Let's try submitting it. I've written 2 songs before and even earned some royalties. That was a great idea. I never expected my sister-in-law to be so talented. Thinking it over, I also sang Red Flag Fluttering and Sing a Mountain Song to the Party. Those 2 were even more revolutionary. Unfortunately, I couldn't remember them fully. Only the climaxes. These 2 are good too. After listening, my sister-in-law refined them further. My sister-in-law and I worked for 2 weeks, organized the lyrics and music for those 2 songs, and mailed them to Songs magazine. I set the novel aside for now. Writing by hand was too tiring, and though I remembered the plot, I kept getting stuck the moment I put pen to paper. Unfortunately, 2 months passed with no reply from the magazine. But my sister-in-law and I didn't give up and wrote a few more songs. That day, Gu Tian came to my workplace to pick me up again. He comes whenever he's free. We get along really well. He's ambitious and considerate, with broad shoulders, a narrow waist, long legs, and 6-pack abs. To be honest, I'm falling for him more and more. Didn't you just come yesterday? Why are you here again today? I linked my arm through his and asked with a smile. Suechin, I have a mission coming up soon. I'll need to be away for a while. Okay, then stay safe. My eldest brother used to be like this too, so I understand. But I noticed his mood seemed a bit off. Gu Tian, what's wrong? Don't want to go? Did your superiors force you? I asked jokingly. He shook his head, looked at me, and said, I'm afraid I might not make it back in time. When the 6 months are up, how am I supposed to marry you? I burst out laughing. Don't worry. As long as you come back safely, we'll get married. Just remember to submit the marriage application in advance. When we reached the lake, he hugged me tightly. Suechin, I really like you. My heart felt sweet. Sure enough. Sweet words are always pleasant to hear. Why don't you say you like me too? He suddenly asked. To be honest, even though I was enjoying it, saying those words out loud was a bit embarrassing. I'm asking you, Suechin, do you like me? I nodded firmly. He lowered his head and gently brushed his lips against mine. The gesture was light, but my heart suddenly raced. We strolled around for a while, and he walked me to the bottom of the building before leaving. I went up to the 2nd floor, stood at the stairwell entrance, and watched his figure disappear before turning to go inside. How wonderful. I finally get to experience the beauty of love. Oh my, can't bear to part. Huh? My sister-in-law teased me with a laugh. I blushed and smiled too. He treats me really well. Isn't that right? I'm so envious I don't even want to marry your brother anymore. She continued to tease me. If my brother heard that, he'd be heartbroken. He reminded the family several times that everything must be clean, spotless to welcome you in. A sweet smile spread across my sister-in-law's face. That's the one thing your brother is good at, being attentive. My eldest brother's wedding, I specifically swapped shifts with someone and came home 2 days early. My eldest sister-in-law has always been good to me in both lives, and I wanted to help make her wedding more beautiful. In my past life, I didn't attend because I had just finished my month of postpartum confinement, and my mother said my sister-in-law's family had many guests coming, so she told me to take the child back to the Shen family. I was already in a bad mood, and upon hearing that, I picked up the child and left. Sigh. I don't want to think about it, it's all tears. The day before the wedding, quite a few people from the village came to help. In the middle of the work, I suddenly heard Zhang Xuero's voice. Auntie, eldest brother's wedding is really well done. When the time comes, Sister Hawa's wedding should be done just like this. My mother's face changed. Xuero, what did you say? Ah, Auntie, you don't know about second brother and Sister Hawa. Look at my mouth. I let it slip. When I rushed out of the house, Zhang Xuero was glancing at me smugly. I was sure she did it on purpose. All right, second sister-in-law, you're pregnant. Go back first. We don't need your help here. Li Qiao quickly urged. Fine. I won't help then. Zhang Xuero turned and left. Sister Hahua stood to the side, awkwardly rubbing her apron. My mother shot her a glare, then quickly forced a smile. It's fine. It's fine. Listen to her talking nonsense. Pregnancy makes you forgetful for 3 years. Her brain isn't working right. A few aunties laughed along, but no one dared to say more. Brother Wang was a martyr, and Sister Hahua is a martyr's widow. At the end of the day, it was my second brother who couldn't control himself. In my past life, my father beat him severely and scolded him for ruining Sister Hahua's reputation. Sigh. Actually, Sister Hahua has had a hard time these years raising 2 kids on her own. If she marries my second brother, at least she'll have someone to lend a hand, and life can be a bit easier. That evening, I went out to borrow bowls and plates. And when I came back, I saw my second brother kneeling in the yard. My father was holding a stick in his hand, still cursing him. Dad, eldest brother and sister-in-law are coming back tomorrow. Let second brother go inside and rest for now. Humph. I thought he was helping her out of kindness, but it turns out he had ulterior motives. My father was still furious. My mother was also complaining. Why are you blaming Qiangzi? Isn't it because Hahua always seeks him out? Mom, it's my fault. Second brother admitted in a low voice. My father gave him another hit with the stick. How did I raise such a worthless son? You're going to anger me to death. Dad, Mom, I don't think second brother did anything wrong. Sister Hahua has been widowed for 5 years, she can't stay alone forever, right? She's had a hard time raising her 2 sons, and everyone in the village knows it. So your brother going there will make her life easier. My mother said sarcastically. Exactly. At least there'll be someone to herd the sheep, till the fields, and help raise Wang Mao and Wang Sheng together. If second brother goes, sister-in-law and the kids will live well, and brother Wang will rest easy in heaven. Second brother turned his head and gave me a grateful look. My father threw down the stick and went inside. My mother wanted to say more, but second brother had already gotten up and run off. You're always siding with outsiders. My mother complained to me. I side with whoever treats me well. Big brother's wedding went off perfectly. Almost the whole village came. Even Zhang Xuero showed up. But Shen Yaoan didn't come. He was still in the village, staying at the educated youth point. My dad said that after he came back after the new year, he barely talked to anyone. I guessed he was still thinking about returning to the city. He looked down on the countryside from the bottom of his heart. But he didn't need to worry about it much longer. The college entrance exam was going to be reinstated in 77, and someone as hard-working as him would most likely pass. But the more I thought about it, the more uneasy I felt. If he ended up becoming a university professor again in this life, I'd really be disgusted. Fortunately, there was still over a year to slowly figure out how to deal with it. After returning to the city, life fell back into a routine. Soon, good news came. The song that sister-in-law and I sent had been accepted, and the payment arrived. Even better news was that sister-in-law got pregnant. Every day after work, I'd go back and cook her all kinds of nutritious meals. After a month, her face had filled out quite a bit, but 3 months passed, and Gu Tian still hadn't come back, nor had he called. I asked Big Brother, and he said he didn't know, because of his wedding, he hadn't participated in this mission. I had no choice but to keep waiting. Unlike my past life. Back then, when Shen Yaoan and I separated, my heart had long been exhausted. Whether he came back or not, I didn't care, and I wouldn't miss him. But this time, I was in the thick of being head over heels in love. I kept counting the days, hoping he'd come back. I'd already planned it all. Once he returned, we'd get married. I still wanted to have a daughter. Another month passed. I had just gotten off work when Big Brother suddenly came to find me. Suichin, come on, let's go to the hospital. My heart skipped a beat. Nothing bad had happened, had it? When I rushed to the hospital ward, I saw someone on the bed wrapped head to toe in bandages. I threw myself over and started crying. How did you end up like this? How are you supposed to marry me like this? You didn't keep your word. The longing and worry I'd suppressed for months all came flooding out at that moment. Suichin. Huh? Suichin, turn around. Big Brother's helpless voice came from behind me. I wiped my tears and turned around. Gu Tian was sitting in a wheelchair, smiling at me. I burst into tears again with a wah. What happened to you? What happened? Is your leg broken? It's nothing. My Achilles tendon snapped. I already had surgery. Just need to rest and it'll heal. Gu Tian grabbed my hand. Then who is this? I pointed at the person on the bed. My comrade in arms. Sharing the room with me. The moment you walked in, you hugged him and started crying. I smiled awkwardly. I thought it was you. You couldn't even recognize me. Gu Tian looked at me with a smile. It's not that. Then as punishment, you have to marry me. I covered my face, crying and laughing at the same time. I'd imagined many ways he might propose, but never thought it'd be this direct. But it didn't matter, I agreed. All right, let's get married then. After we got married, I got pregnant soon after. When our son was 3 months old, I got mastitis and ran a fever of 39 degrees. Gu Tian carried me on his back to the hospital in the middle of the night. While I was on the foredrip, I was drowsy and felt someone gently rubbing my feet. I opened my eyes. Gu Tian was crouched by the bed, massaging my swollen ankles. What are you doing? I asked in a hoarse voice. The nurse said massage helps you feel better. When he looked up, I saw red veins in his eyes. Does it still hurt? Why are you crying? He asked hurriedly. I shook my head, but tears fell anyway. In my past life, when I gave birth to my daughter, Shen Yaoan said he was busy with his thesis and barely came to see me during the confinement period. I couldn't help crying back then. But my mother-in-law said, every woman goes through this when having kids. Don't be so dramatic. I had 5 and never had anyone keep me company. Gu Tian wiped away my tears. Why are you crying? I'm here. I'm here. 3 words worth more than 10,000 love poems. 2 years later, in the autumn of 1977, news that the college entrance examination had been reinstated spread everywhere. Li Qiao signed up. But Shen Yaoan didn't make it. The production brigade didn't approve. He had conduct problems to begin with, and on top of that, he didn't work hard on a regular basis. So it was only natural that he was rejected. I had returned to the village a few times over those 2 years and ran into Shen Yaoan several times. He was with another female educated youth, Wang Mei. When Li Qiao mentioned it to me, she couldn't help but sigh. With that face of his, how many women does he need to deceive before he's satisfied? I sighed too. In my previous life, he had deceived quite a few women, especially young, pretty, and naive girls. Qiao, study hard. You'll definitely get into university. I think so too. Li Qiao smiled. We'll both have better lives. I hadn't attended high school, so I was just waiting for the secondary school entrance exam to be reinstated. Even getting into a technical secondary school would be fine. But compared to exams, I cared more about the reform and opening up. I wanted to make money and give my son a better life. Yes, I didn't get the daughter I'd hoped for. My son's features were strikingly similar to Gu Tian's, a miniature version of him. Before I knew it, it was 1978. I was just thinking about Shen Yaoan retaking the college entrance exam when he got beaten up. Here's what happened. Wang Mei had already returned to the city and was running around trying to find connections for him, when suddenly she discovered she was pregnant. She wanted to get married, But Shen Yaoan refused to register the marriage no matter what and even told her to get an abortion first. So Wang Mei's younger brother brought some people and cornered Shen Yaoan in a small grove, beating him so badly his leg was nearly broken. When second brother told me about it, I asked in surprise, "How do you know all the details?" I happened to be nearby at the time. After that group left and Shen Yaoan was lying unconscious on the ground, I went over and added a few more kicks. I laughed. What a perfect outcome. I had always been afraid of getting implicated, so I'd never confronted Shen Yaoan directly, otherwise, people might think I had some kind of love-hate entanglement with him. A few days earlier, when I was returning to the village, I ran into Wang Mei and her younger brother on the bus. Judging by her face and the way she was touching her belly, I suspected she was pregnant, so I warned her, "You need to register the marriage. Without registration, it doesn't count as being married. What if Shen Yaoan gets into university and then refuses to acknowledge the child?" Wang Mei naturally knew about Li Qiao and Meng Yiping's situation, so she forced him to register. Good thing, evil is always repaid by evil. Shen Yaoan was a tough one, though. Even with a limp, he didn't report it to the police. He quietly applied for medical retirement and returned to the city. Eldest sister-in-law made a point of finding out. Shen Yaoan didn't go back to the Shen family. Instead, he moved in with Meng Yiping and their daughter. Meng Yiping now worked as a kitchen helper in a factory cafeteria, looking far more haggard than she had 2 years earlier. I caught sight of her from a distance twice. She was a completely different person from that arrogant woman in my previous life. And then there was Li Shan. Just like in his previous life, after being discharged from the military, he chose to take the money and return to the village. Last year, Li Qiao got into university, and this year he also signed up. Exactly like in his previous life, with 2 kids at home, he found them too noisy and actually moved out on his own to the old family house. Zhang Xuero was left alone at home taking care of the children. And she also had to work in the fields, cook, and do laundry. As time went on, she naturally became resentful. I heard she was now at odds with Aunt Li. Li Qiao said Zhang Xuero would take the kids back to her parents' house every few days. I just smiled when I heard that. See, I'd said it before, marriage isn't about getting rich. So what's there to show off about? Gu Tianhe, just like in his previous life, kept climbing up the ranks, and he treated me quite well too. Gu's mother also put her heart into taking care of our grandson. She used to be a teacher, so she was far more disciplined in raising kids than I was. When life goes smoothly, time flies by, and before I knew it, it was 1982. Right after the Spring Festival, Zhang Xiaoning sold her job. She said that her job was originally inherited from her mother, and now that her brother had gotten married, her mother wanted her to give it back to her sister-in-law. Unwilling to just hand it over, she decided to sell it for cash and go out to make a name for herself. I was tempted when I heard that. The policies had been getting better and better these past few years, and I had been thinking about starting something with my second brother. But last year the county livestock station recruited veterinarians, so I quickly signed my second brother up. Now he's on the government payroll too, even though he's still in charge of the livestock in our brigade. As for my own job, I didn't want to give it up either. I had already been transferred to work at the Xinhua bookstore. The work was easy and stable, and I could work there until retirement. After thinking it over, I discussed it with Zhang Xiaoning and decided to go into the clothing business. We'd stock up on goods first, and after I got off work, I'd sell with her. We were both tall and decent looking, weren't we natural clothes hangers? When my sister-in-law heard about it, she wanted in too. So the 3 of us took a trip to Guangzhou over the weekend. We stocked up on quite a few stylish spring outfits and handbags. After my sister-in-law and I got back, we first pitched the goods to the women at our respective workplaces. Then, after work and on weekends, we set up a stall. For whatever was left over, we wore it ourselves. And there was my mom and my mother-in-law, surely one of them could wear it. We only had a few pieces of each style. And for the ones that sold well, Zhang Xiaoning would go back to Guangzhou to restock. Zhang Xiaoning was truly sharp. She quickly struck a deal with the boss over there, who agreed to ship us goods every month. And whatever we couldn't sell, we could send back. After establishing long-term partnerships with two Guangzhou bosses, the three of us simply opened a clothing store. We just sold clothes and bags. Women's money was the easiest to make. My mother-in-law was very supportive and praised me for having ideas and the guts to take risks. But my mom wasn't happy about it, saying my sister-in-law and I were running around busying ourselves all day and should just have a few more kids instead. My sister-in-law and I put our heads together and decided to have my mom take our nephew back to the countryside for a while. Our niece would go to school during the day and stay with us at night. That little girl was even more into matching outfits than we were, dressing up all pretty, and it made her much more outgoing socially too. And following Zhang Xiaoning really was the right move. Before long, I got my first share of the profits. It was 1987 again, and our lives were getting better and better. Gu Tian was suddenly transferred to work in another province. My mother-in-law wanted me to take the children and move there with him, saying that my job could be transferred too. I was hesitant. If I didn't go, the family would be separated, and the children wouldn't see their father often. If I did go, the clothing store business was thriving, and all our friends and relatives were here. Seeing me torn, Gu Tian spoke up first. If you don't want to go, then don't. You'd have to start from scratch in a new place. Just stay here. I'll come back to see you whenever I have time. I nodded, thinking we'd leave it at that for now. If it really didn't work out, I could always go later. Little did I expect that this separation would last a full 8 years. Until our son Gu Ziyuan was about to enter college. Ziyuan got into a school in Beijing, and our whole family planned to go to Beijing together to see him off and take a look at Tiananmen Square. But unexpectedly, during that summer vacation, Grandpa suddenly passed away, quietly in his sleep. My son, my eldest brother and his wife, and I rushed back immediately. In my previous life, I was by Grandpa's side when he passed. In this life, he lived 1 more year. And I had forgotten that this world would still take away the people I love. I was devastated. Grandpa had always doted on me the most, always saying I looked the most like him. When I stopped studying after junior high, he supported me. Before he left in my previous life, he told me he regretted it. In this life, he left before he could say those words to me. My second brother handed me a silver dollar. Grandpa left this for you. He said it's yours. I took it, and the tears I'd been holding back finally spilled over. It must have been when I told my mom about Shen Yaoan that Grandpa overheard. Actually, when I got married, Grandpa had quietly given me one, telling me not to make a fuss, afraid that my brothers, sisters-in-law, and cousins would come asking for one too. I was in a daze. And before I knew it, Grandpa's 7th-day memorial had almost passed. Dad, seeing how low my spirits were, tried to comfort me. He said, "Your grandpa's passing was a blessed one, he didn't suffer. He was a fortunate man." But as he spoke, his own eyes grew wet. Sigh. It's just that from now on, I don't have a father anymore. Second brother drove me to town. While I was buying things by the bus stop, I ran into Zhang Xuero. She now runs this little convenience store. Li Shan studied for 3 years to retake the college entrance exam, and after he got into university, he divorced Zhang Xuero, leaving the child with the Li family. Later, Aunt Li passed away, and Li Shan remarried and took both children with him. Zhang Xuero also remarried and had a child, and now she's living a stable life. Suichin. Zhang Xuero greeted me first. Xuero, is this your daughter? I looked at the girl doing homework beside her. Yeah, she's always playing around at home, so I figured I'd bring her here and keep an eye on her studies. She replied with a smile. Kids are all like that. After I bought my things and was about to pay and leave, Zhang Xuero followed me out and asked softly, "About your grandfather, did Li Shan come back?" He came back, and he brought both kids too. They've grown tall. The younger one looks a lot like you. She sighed. As long as the kids are doing well. The Li family is cold-hearted. After the divorce, they never let me see them. Try to look on the bright side. They're still your own flesh and blood. His current wife doesn't have children, and from what I can tell, she treats the 2 kids pretty well. Sigh. In the end, I gave birth to them for nothing. She wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes, then smiled again. Suechin, back then I actually resented you because of him. Now that I think about it, it's ridiculous. When we're young, who hasn't done a few ridiculous things? True. But my life is pretty good now. My husband has a steady job, and his parents have both passed away, so it's just the three of us. After hardship comes good fortune, that's a blessing. Suechin. Suechin. Second brother honked the horn in the car, urging me on. I quickly said goodbye to Zhang Xuero and hurried out. What's wrong? Wang Sheng is about to get out of school. I need to rush to pick him up, time is tight. Why didn't you say so earlier? Back in the city, I still went to Beijing. Gu Tian was busy with work and couldn't get away, and I couldn't let the child go alone. After my mother-in-law accompanied me to see my son off at school, she flew straight from Beijing to find Guyin. I went home alone, and the house suddenly felt empty and cold. I suddenly wanted to go to Gu Tian's side. Gu Tian was helping arrange the job transfer. As for the clothing store, I discussed it with Zhang Xiaoning. Why not have me open a branch over there? Zhang Xiaoning agreed readily. She already has several branches open across the province. 2 months later, I arrived in a brand new city, and my clothing store opened for business. Arriving in a new city with some spare money, I made a point of checking out properties whenever I had free time. In my previous life, I stayed home raising kids and hadn't seen much of the world, but there were two things I knew well: gold and real estate. Over the years, I'd already bought a fair amount of gold to store away, and now that I'd moved here, I naturally wanted to acquire a property as well. Gu Tian didn't understand. There are only 3 people in the family, why buy so many houses? Can you even live in all of them? Rent them out? He still didn't get it. Rental income is pocket change. If you want to buy for yourself, fine, but why are you egging on sister-in-law and second sister-in-law to buy too? Your eldest brother came to me, saying your sister-in-law has sunk all her money into houses and gold. I smiled with satisfaction. Sister-in-law listens well, she'll be blessed for it. Alright, fine. What happens in our own family is one thing, but don't go around advising others. Your eldest brother's right, buying a house isn't like buying groceries. Why hoard so many? Got it. 3 months later, I found a house I liked. Introduced by a colleague, it belonged to the neighbor next door to my colleague's place. The neighbor couple had both been laid off and planned to sell the house to start a small business. On the day I went to view it, I ran into Shen Yaowen. He was wearing a faded blue shirt, washed so many times it had gone pale, with 3 kids standing beside him. In earlier years, I'd kept tabs on him, but after he got into university, I stopped paying attention. His character wasn't great, but he studied hard, and with his good looks and sharp mind, someone like that couldn't be held down. My own life was thriving, so eventually I didn't want to keep watching him. I'd only heard from sister-in-law that he'd stayed with Meng Yiping for a year, and she'd supported him through exams to get into a university in another province. After graduating, he found a girl from a well-off family, settled down there, and even got into a pharmaceutical company. Just like in my previous life, he sent money to Meng Yiping every month. For many years after that, I never saw him again. Now, suddenly running into him, he had indeed aged, and if you looked closely, he still walked with a slight limp. At this age in my previous life, he'd been full of vigor, his leather shoes polished to a shine, always complaining that I dressed too plainly and didn't know how to style myself. Now I was the one in a fashionable coat and leather shoes, while he looked shabby, even lacking any spark. Still, he'd managed to chase down a son in the end. In my previous life, he'd been dead set on having a son, but I refused to have more. The policy didn't allow it. Why go through all that sneaking around? He said we could just register the child under his younger brother's household, since his brother was self-employed and it wouldn't matter. Later, he had 2 sons out of wedlock. Sigh. I wonder whose name that son of his is registered under now. When he saw me, I couldn't tell if he recognized me, but he acted like he didn't. Still, this house of his was genuinely decent, so I decided to take it. During the transfer of ownership, I discovered that the house was under his wife's name. Her surname was very rare. The same as the leader who was arrested for corruption that Gu Tian had mentioned to me before. That evening, I asked Gu Tian about it, and he confirmed it, saying that Gu Tian's wife was from an ethnic minority, and their second daughter and son were born about a year apart but were registered as twins. I sighed, he was just too clever. Later, I heard that he and his wife went to Shenzhen to work. See, smart people are smart no matter what. They never give up on themselves just because of one setback. Sometimes when life feels hard, I even learn from that spirit of his. But to me now, he's just a stranger. When I first came back to life, I kept thinking about how to take revenge on him, but now I just want to live my own life well. After all, the meaning of my rebirth isn't just revenge, it's to live out the decades I didn't understand in my past life, and truly live them clearly. Before I knew it, the 21st century had arrived, and my son had graduated from university and joined the military. Gu Tian and I were taking a walk by the lake when, before we knew it, snow began to fall. Gu Tian said, "Suichin, I think I'm really lucky, my wife is virtuous, and my son is sensible." Me too. True love isn't the relationship between the sun and the moon, but becoming each other's light. How wonderful, the suffering of my past life is all behind me now. 5 more years passed, and I retired and gained a granddaughter. I had a good amount of money saved up, so I sold off my clothing store and stayed home to take care of my granddaughter full-time. My parents were getting old too, and I had to go back often, planning to return to our old home once Gu Tian retired. 10 years later, my parents passed away within 6 months of each other, and I was by their side both times. In my past life, I went before them because of Shen Yaoan, but in this life, I'm grateful that I've stayed safe and healthy. My father died suddenly of a heart attack, and my mother lost all her spirit after that. She'd spent her whole life complaining that my father was chauvinistic, inconsiderate, and sloppy in his old age. But once he was gone, she started drifting, sometimes calling my eldest and second brothers by my father's name. 6 months later, she followed him, even though she wasn't that old. Honestly, in both lives, I never really liked my mother. She always said that once I married out, I was someone else's family. She gave almost all her savings to my eldest brother's son. My 2 nieces got nothing, and neither did my son. But now that she's truly gone, I can't hold back my tears. Yes, I no longer have a mother. After Gu Tian retired, my granddaughter went back to her mother's side. I transferred all the houses to my son and gave all my saved gold to my daughter-in-law. I'm old now, and I'm afraid they don't know how much I truly love them, even though I've never been one to say sweet words my whole life. But Gu Tian has said them to me for decades, and I do love hearing them. When Gu Tian retired, we finally set off for Hainan. The boundless sea was so blue it dazzled the eyes. I filmed a video and posted it in the family group. My eldest and second sisters-in-law were both at home fussing over their grandchildren, saying they envied me for being carefree and at leisure. But my granddaughter could sing and dance, and she had a lively personality, especially endearing. She often called me, saying softly, "Grandma, I miss you," though the next sentence would always be, "Grandma, Mom is forcing me to practice piano." Sometimes, looking at my granddaughter, I would think of my daughter from my previous life, even though the two of them didn't look alike at all. Back then, I raised her on my own, and she was exceptionally sensible. I used to take pride in that, but now the more I think about it, the more my heart aches. She was clearly forced to grow up early by life. Gu Tian and I traveled everywhere. We'd been to the northeast, the northwest, and even went abroad later on. Every place I went, I'd quietly say, "Sweetheart, Mom came to see this place, the one you pointed out on the map before." But neither Gu Tian nor I could get used to foreign food, so we always stuffed 2 jars of homemade pickled vegetables into our luggage wherever we went. That day, I was watching kangaroos in Australia when my second brother suddenly called, saying Shen Yaoan was dead. I was taken aback. Wasn't he doing business in Shenzhen, supposedly thriving and successful? My second brother said, "That man, He's sharp-minded and can make money, but his relationships with women are a complete mess. This time, he got tangled up with a married woman. And then the husband suddenly came home. And he panicked. Scrambling onto the balcony. Remember, he had a slight limp. He lost his footing. And fell. I held the phone and let out a long sigh. The me from my previous life. How foolish I was. Why on earth did I choose to die together with him? After hanging up, I immediately called Li Qiao. After listening, Li Qiao only said coldly, "He should have died long ago." I couldn't agree more. After returning to the country, the more I thought about it, the more I felt I should see it with my own eyes. So I went alone to the neighborhood where the Shen family lived. Just as I entered the main gate, I ran into Li Qiao. She had retired too, but as an experienced senior doctor, she'd been rehired by the hospital to see patients. "You came too." I greeted her with a smile. "Yeah, just checking if he's really dead." "How could that be fake?" I was a bit surprised. Li Qiao pursed her lips. "You don't know. Ever since he went to Shenzhen, he stopped sending Meng Yiping any living expenses, and even claimed he was dying of illness. Meng Yiping came to consult me before, asking how much it would cost to cure his condition. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. "Come on, let's go in and take a look. This time, it should be real." When I was 83, Gu Tian passed away. In the 2 years before he left, his mind had already grown muddled, but he still remembered me. He called everyone Suichin. Every time I heard him call my name, I felt a sense of peace. Until that morning, when he suddenly gripped my hand tightly, making a faint, garbled sound from his throat. "Suichin, Suichin." He could no longer speak clearly, just gazing at me quietly. I held his hand and whispered, "In this life, marrying you has made me truly happy. In the next life, I want to marry you again." He nodded, his eyes fixed on my face, and then slowly, peacefully, drew his last breath. In that moment, I finally understood my mother. A companion in old age, when the one beside your pillow is suddenly gone, it feels like a piece of your heart has been torn away. I, too, began to lose the ability to recognize people, calling everyone Gu Tian. A year later, on the 6th day of the first lunar month, when I opened my eyes in the morning, I saw Gu Tian standing by the bed. He smiled and asked me, "Suichin, I'd like to ask your opinion. Are you willing to come with me?" I nodded eagerly. "Yes, I am." But just as I was about to step forward, I heard my granddaughter calling from behind. "Grandma, don't go." I turned around. My son and daughter-in-law were there. My eldest sister-in-law with her children and grandchildren, and my second brother, who had come in a wheelchair, pushed by Wang Mao and Wang Sheng. I said to my granddaughter, "Grandma is going to see your aunt." They froze. Only I understood what I meant. She wasn't in this life. But in my heart, I had always kept her close. Gu Tian took my hand and led me through the weeping crowd, through the sunlit living room. At the doorway, I turned back for one last look. How wonderful, my whole family. In this life, I am truly content. I have not lived in vain.